Performance mode is a highly requested feature from our community, and that's a setting that the players can choose within the options to run the game on a 60 frame per second mode. You can swap between the performance and quality mode seamlessly. When you are playing on the PlayStation 5 Pro, you can choose between your preferred upscaler PSSR and TSR. Our approach to performance mode was to keep the original cinematic experience intact.
And I'll gut you like a fish.
So from the outset, we were pretty set on not removing any features at all for the performance mode version of the game, and rather we made a series of targeted optimizations as well as performance mode specific settings. For the original release of Senua Saga Hellblade 2, we optimized to the 30Hz target and then actually optimized a bit further than that to give ourselves a bit of headroom for a smoother frame rate, as well as letting us scale more for PC hardware. And so that meant that we had a bit of spare CPU headroom, basically, where if we were to scale the graphics settings, you get some additional frame rate kind of by default, but it wasn't quite enough to get us all the way to 60 frames per second. So because we had that headroom for the quality mode version of the game, that meant that we did actually have a couple of 2 to 4 millisecond spikes that would never affect the frame rate. However, in performance mode, these became a large part of our frame, and so we spent quite a lot of effort in targeting and removing all of those. This often involved spreading work across lots of frames, and particularly around spawning characters and items, level streaming, and garbage collection. For our general CPU performances, you might imagine for a game like this, a lot of it was spent on our characters, their animation, and their physics. We got back most of our performance by making targeted improvements to animation, as well as making our anim blueprints performance mode aware so that we could branch certain functionality and make appropriate reductions where necessary.
If you would just listen to me, Senua.
We also implemented an animation frame budget allocator, which meant that we could set fixed budgets, which is very important for 60Hz games, to ensure a consistent frame time. And then anything beyond that budget would just push to later frames. We also set this up with a priority system on characters so that this would not affect primary characters within a scene. Also, as our animation blueprints were performance mode aware, we were able to scale the physics on the characters for performance mode only. Reaching our goals on GPU was a combination of lower resolution, scalability settings, and performance mode specific settings for lighting and shadows to reduce their cost. We also made improvements to post-processing and VFX. In addition to this, we made our Niagara systems performance mode aware, which meant that we could branch their functionality as well. There's a lot more to it and a lot of finer details to keeping the performance smooth and consistent at 60 frames per second, but that's the broad overview of what it took to get the game running at 60 on Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 5 Pro.